This is my educational journey that I want to share with you. So at Truman, it was one of the most affordable public school. It's like a mid-sized college in the middle of nowhere. So I was about an hour and a half from Missouri, University of Missouri, Columbia, from Dr. Dale's college. So 4 years, it was only $25,000 for the whole 4 years of my college. Living expenses, it was a boony. There's like nothing there. The Walmart is where we hung out, and a couple Chinese restaurants. So $5 buffet. So living expenses were cheap, 25 grand. So total, $50,000, cost of Model 3. Not bad. But I was broke. How did I fund it? I didn't know anything. My parents didn't know anything. They didn't really understand, how education worked. I didn't know anything. But thankfully, there's a government grant that I was able to get through FAFSA. Thank God, FAFSA. So I got some of those money and applied to lots and lots of scholarships because that was the only thing that I could do, So thankfully, I was considered as a minority in Missouri. All right, so I applied. I tried to sound like a minority who needed money, and wealthy people gave me some money. $300, $500, $2,000. I got a lot of those small scholarships, which really helped me lower my student loan. So I got $20,000 of student loan in 2005. That includes all the expenses during that 4 years. So medical school, obviously more expensive in LA. So 2008 to 2012, tuition annually was about $25,000. Living expenses, $25,000. But back then, during recession, at least rent was not as crazy as they are now. So total cost was about $200,000 to go through my medical school education. A Lambo. How I funded? I was still broke. My parents still didn't speak English, but there's no grants at that level. So I got a lot of loans. I got to do what I got to do. Federal loan, private loan. I had to get those, borrowed money. But I still applied for some scholarships, and thankfully, thank God, there's one scholarship that I got for a California medical student. I think 12 people got it, and that actually covered half of my education. That was not merit-based. It's not that I was smart. I read their mission statement. I reverse engineered so that I presented myself as a candidate they want to give scholarship to. It's $100,000. So it worked, thank God. Although it was a minority scholarship, I wasn't minority in California in medicine. But still, working backwards, reverse engineering strategy worked. So I came out, right now, everything is double. $50K for tuition per year, living expenses easily $50K. It would cost 2 Lambos. So I think it's important to plan ahead for your education, your children's education, which is going to be the next part of my talk. So I came out with about $100,000 in student debt, which is not bad in today's standard. So what if I did it again? Again, I didn't know anything. I spent a lot of time thinking about, maximizing my money. So it's a teamwork. It's very expensive. Student and parents should team up together and plan ahead. So during high school, 3 things that I would have done are I would have also worked. I would have funded money in Roth IRA, which I'm going to talk about, and lots of scholarship, which I didn't apply during high school. So this is an example. You get a minimum paying job in California, I don't know, Five Guys or Starbucks, McDonald's, working 15 hours a week, you can easily make $1,000 a month. At that level, you pay no income taxes. So your take home is close to $1,924 because you have to pay some taxes for Social Security and Medicare. So half of that, you should have right to spend, to buy food, put gas in your car. But the other half, you can put that money in Roth IRA account, which I'm going to talk about. Who has not heard of Roth IRA? Okay, great. So Roth IRA is created as a retirement account. Essentially, you can put $462 a month into this bucket, and the money in the bucket will grow, depends on how you invest your money in. So maximum you can invest is annually $6,500, But if you put in close to $500, you can almost max out, and this money will grow, and it can grow tax-free. And I think it's one of the most recommended retirement account because of the benefits. And one great example of Roth account, Roth IRA that grew to be just crazy amount of money is this guy. Who has heard of PayPal? PayPal. Who has not heard of PayPal? So it's a company that sends money to, third party. So he's one of the co-founders, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk's buddy. So he put in $2,000 in 1999, and that money he invested in start a company grew to be $5 billion. This could be tax-free, and you guys can all do this. This is not only limited to billionaires. This is something that we all can start and fund our money into the bucket that can grow. They can use to pay tuition. So up to $10,000 of the Roth IRA money in that bucket, you can use tax-free. So parents, these are 3 things to keep in mind. Who has heard of all 3 of these kinds? Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to start with 529. I'm going to talk about Coverdell. I'm going to talk about I-bond. Okay? So parents, so 529 is college savings plan. And how you fund this, you put after money in that bucket. You can put a lot of money into it. California 529 plan, you can put up to $500,000. But I understand, my parents, they could really not have put money into my 529 because they didn't have any extra. If that's the case for you, you can ask your grandparents or relatives. Instead of giving your kids a sneaker or clothes during Christmas time, they can actually help fund their 529 education. That would be more meaningful. So your kid can remember, oh, my grandma helped fund my college. So there's something that they can remember in the future. And the money in this bucket grows tax-free when you use it for education. So it's an incredible plan that anybody in this room can start. Options on what you can invest in is a little bit limited, but for most people, that's not going to be any obstacle. If your kid got full ride scholarships, then leftover money can be handed down. It could be your kid's legacy. Your kid can give this money to their children, So this is what wealthy people do. They just put money in this bucket, let it grow, and then pass it down generation after generation after generation to fund your family's education. Another plan is Coverdell. It is similar to 529, but a little bit different. It's called Education Savings Account. So you can fund this bucket with after-tax money, but limit is $2,000 maximum per kid. Only people making less than this income limit, $190,000 if you're married, $95,000 if you're single. If your income is less than that, you can contribute full $2,000 per year per kid. Again, ask your grandparents, ask your relatives. Again, this money grows tax-free. That's a magic about this buckets. And you can invest in a lot of options. You can buy gold, crypto, stocks, really anything that you want. And limitation is that you want to start this Coverdell funding early because once your kid hits 18, you can't put more money into this bucket. And you have to use it until your kid hits 30. You can give it to their children and use it within the family. Again, you can use it as a legacy as well. The third option is I-bond. Essentially, you're loaning money to the government, and government pays you close to 7% right now. Depends on inflation. That number changes a couple times a year, and you can put more money, up to $10,000 per person, or $5,000 extra, so $15,000 if you buy $5,000 extra using your tax refund. As long as you use that money for education, the growth is tax-free. Also, there's an income limitation. So less than $128,000 for married, $85,000 per single. you can use this money in this I-bond bucket for education tax-free. Limitation to note is you can't take the money out for the first year, and the expectation is you keep it in the bucket for 5+ years. It's 30-year loan to the government, but if you take the money out after 5 years, you don't pay any penalties. You can use all of it for education if needed. So this is just a table that summarizes and comparing these three types, which I'm not going to go over for time's sake. So one of the important concepts that I want to visit is capital gains tax. So capital gains tax, essentially, you buy something like Tesla stock for $20,000, the value goes up to $30,000, and $10,000 gain if you sell, you have to pay taxes. You have to, government wants a cut. So if you're a single parent making $100,000 of income, you would pay about 25% in capital gains tax. But the magic of 529 covered out I-bond is that you don't pay that capital gains tax, which is a big deal, 25% discount in a way. So for college, what if I did it again, knowing what I know? Again, for students, work, Roth IRA, and scholarships, only thing that I would say a little bit differently about work is if you find the right employer, like Chipotle, you eat the burrito for free, and they can also pay part of your education, $5,250 a year you receive as stipend, tax-free. And Fortune magazine talk about this 17-year-old who is working at Chipotle and got full benefit, so look into it. So parents, consider funding 529 for medical school, and government will help you out through American Opportunity Credit. So it's a free money. It's credit that you get from the government, essentially, during the tax time. $2,500 per student that you can get, only for first 4 years of your kid's college. There's also income limit, $180,000 or $80,000 or less. For medical school, okay, again, I applied for some scholarship. I would definitely do more, and don't buy dumb thing with loan, which is what I did. I was living in LA. I bought 6-inch TV. I spent $2,000 on that, and I bought a convertible that's used. But these are not the right, good financial move. So don't do it. And last thing for parents is they get to take advantage of lifetime learning credit. Again, free money from the government, so $2,000 per return. So if you have one kid in medical school during the entire 4 year, you can get $2,000 of free money from the government in that sense, as long as you meet the income criteria, as noted here. So in summary, paying for college and education is a team sport. For student, consider working, try to get the education stipend, and fund your Roth IRA, which is you're gonna be happy later. Parents, 529, covered out, I-bond, fund them early, and definitely utilize American Opportunity Credit and lifelong learning credit.